Family and friends have gathered here today, October 16th, 2010, for the Warren Hall of Fame Sports Induction, where my brother, Dr. Richard Hart, along with several other inductees, will be recognized on this special occasion.
Our next enshrinee initially made his mark on the basketball court as a starting point guard at Warren Harding. He set a sophomore scoring record there and is still one of the school's all-time leading free throw shooters. He later received his medical degree from Wright State University and now practices here in Warren. According to one website, his patients have given him an excellent rating. If that comes as no surprise, it was a 3.5 out of 4-star rating on the internet. So it's no wonder that he received 2 awards in his medical practice, including the Patient's Choice Award. Now a member of the Warren Sports Hall of Fame, please welcome Dr. Richard Hart.
Thank you. So really I had a soccer game today. I'm the soccer coach of the 4 and 5-year-old was over in Sharon. And I was at the hospital after the soccer game anyways, but I'd like to begin by saying first and foremost, I would like to say that this is a great privilege and an honor for me to be speaking from this podium today at this induction ceremony. The city of Warren has a great history in reference to athletics that dates back to over 90 years. The community prides itself in their competitive athletics and their competitive teams in all sports, and has in the past and will in the future accept the challenges of the best teams in the state and even the nation. We may not win every contest, but one thing is certain: we will come to play and we will be prepared to play. And if you beat us, we will be back the next day, stronger, quicker, faster, and with even more enthusiasm to play you again. This competitive attitude made growing up in Warren, Ohio in the 60s and the 70s very special to me, and made playing at Warren Harding very rewarding. To play at Warren Harding in the 70s meant that you had to be prepared to play the best competition, maximize your potential, and develop into the best athlete that you possibly could. Growing up in Warren, my first athletic memories were of the great Harding basketball teams in the early 60s, led by Jim Gardner and coached by Dick Boyd. And then shortly afterwards, Harding had that phenomenal basketball team of 65 and 66, coached by Jack Geisigem, and led by one of my childhood idols, Ed Lucas. I went to every Harding game with my father, hoping that Ed would score 30 points that night. Listened to Matt Stevens and Ted Winger broadcast every away game. The loss to Chaminade in Columbus was truly a heartbreaker, because I knew, at least in my heart, that we would beat Dayton Chaminade 8 out of 10 times if we could play them again. And I truly thought that Harding team of 65 and 66 could have beaten the Boston Celtics if we could have gotten Boston to come to Warren and play us in the field house. And then we had the great football teams of the early 60s and the mid 60s. They contended for the state championship every year. These great Warren football teams were coached by Gene Slaughter, Ben Wilson, Bill Schunkweiler in the 60s, and led by people like Butch Wireman, Dave Binko, Tony Capers, Marvin Simmons, to name just a few people. And the community totally supported our teams unconditionally. Packed the stadium in football, packed the field house in basketball for every home event. And then came the total domination of high school football in the early 70s by Harding, JFK, and Western Reserve. And let's step back in time to a different era, the 20s, in which the great Henry DeSantis and George Buckwalter were leading the Harding football, basketball, and baseball teams. In the 30s, when Frank Simon pitched our baseball team to the state championship. So in the 40s, when Gene Rossi was dominating the basketball court. In the 50s, when John Valad was leading our basketball team and Bill White was leading our baseball team. The list goes on and on and on. Our history is rich, The accomplishments have been great, and this is why it is such a privilege for me to be here today. I would also like to give thanks and recognize the people who helped me along the way. I would like to first give thanks to my family. I think everything begins with support from the family in both athletics and academics. I can tell when I coach my 7 and 8-year-old baseball and basketball teams which fathers have really worked with their sons, which fathers and families are supportive of athletic development. And I am sure that the teachers that we have in the audience today can tell also which families are supportive and interested in education. There was a study that correlated family income with academic success and found a direct correlation between the two. The higher the family income, the better the child performed in school and on the ACT exams. I really think that it's not the income level, but it's the family's interest and support that determines academic success. Now, a great number of wealthy individuals have a formal education themselves, and therefore they are really supportive of academic achievements. But I don't believe that a high family income is really necessary. Instead, I believe it's the family's influence and the support that is a major factor instead of the income. And this principle applies to athletics. My family was very supportive of both my academic achievements and my athletic achievements, and for this, I am forever grateful. Secondly, I would like to thank all my coaches that I had throughout the years and the numerous teammates that played with me. The coaches spend a great amount of time and get compensated very little, especially on an hourly basis. Every one of my coaches in the Warren system had our best interest in mind of not only myself, but every athlete in the program. The coaches in the Warren system spend a tremendous amount of time studying, teaching, and trying to help their ball players. And often they take a lot of abuse from the fans, the booster clubs, and some parents. There's always a couple parents that think that they know more than the coach. After all, the parents have spent a total of 2.5 hours watching one game. The coach, on the other hand, has spent 7 days a week for the last 6 months trying to analyze his talent. Don Andres, the legendary coach at Kennedy, Niles, and Howland, said it the best when he considered a team of orphans as his ideal team. Anyways, I had great coaches in the Warren system, and I would like to say thank you to all of them. Thirdly, I would like to thank my 6th grade principal, Jerry Haniak at McKinley School, for his direction and guidance, both athletically and academically. Jerry was a great high school athlete at Burrell High School in the late 50s and excelled in baseball, football, and basketball. He signed a professional baseball contract with the St. Louis Cardinals out of high school and did very well in minor league baseball. In fact, if it wasn't for an injury, he may have been playing shortstop or second base for the Cardinals in the 60s. But as fate would have it, Jerry ended up in Warren, Ohio in the late 60s after graduating from Baldwin Wallace College. Instead of trying to hit the baseball over the fence at Busch Gardens, he was trying to hit the baseball over my head in center field at McKinley School. Every day at lunch for 3 years at McKinley School. So We played basketball, baseball, and football for an hour, sometimes an hour and a half. More importantly, he continued to give me sound advice in both athletics and academics throughout junior high school, and college. He gave me excellent advice, and it came from a man who had been there before, both athletically and academically. I'm very appreciative of his interest and guidance, and believe that he actually and truly influenced me and helped me to achieve what I've achieved today. Next, I would like to thank all the athletes that I played against at the Warren YMCA in the 60s and the early 70s. Basketball was extremely popular at that time, and there was always an older ball player to play against that was stronger, faster, quicker, so than you were. One of those individuals is here today, Chuck Wilbert. Chico was one heck of a ball player in his time. He was a great athlete. He was an excellent rebounder, a good scorer, a good scrapper, and a great competitor. To be able to play against somebody of his caliber when I was in high school and college was a tremendous help and a great advantage to me. Men like Chico and his friends, Ronnie Garland, Bobby Carroll, Gene Gilliam, just to name a few, so it provided great competition and provided a great learning experience. Finally, I would like to thank my good friend Michael Verich. People remember Michael Verich as our state representative in the 55th District, and as a man who brought millions of dollars into our community. He did an outstanding job for over 16 years representing our county in Columbus, and should be in Washington, D.C. today representing our district. But what people don't know about Michael is that he was an all-conference rugby player in college at Bowling Green State University. Michael, back in 1976, was built like I am today. Weighed 185, 190 pounds, strong, powerful, could run like a deer. So he was ready to enroll in law school in the fall of 1976, and was training to play safety for the Youngstown Hard Hats at that time. Every night in the summer, I would arrive at Mollenkoff Stadium at 11 o'clock at night, and Michael would either be there or he would come shortly after that. Then from 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock in the morning, we trained. We ran 40 after 40, 50 after 50, 100 yards and 200 yards. We ran the stadium, we jumped the stadium, we ran the 440, ran the 880. And because, as a direct result of this intense training, when I went to college my freshman year at the University of South Carolina, I had the fastest 30-yard time, the fastest 40-yard time of any basketball player, the highest vertical jump of 36 inches of any guard, and totally blew the entire team away in a mile. I ran a 4:52 mile, and the other guards could not even break 6 minutes. And I lapped the big men. Of course, nobody really expects a center or power forward that's over 6'8" to be able to run with a point guard. But it was this level of conditioning and this level of intense training that Michael Verich and myself did in the summer months that permitted me to show up to camp in such phenomenal shape. In conclusion, to my family, to my coaches, my teammates, Jerry Haniak, Michael Verich, Chico Wilbert, and the rest of the players at the Y, I would like to say thank you.
That's good to know that you can still shoot free throws, and so can your dad. As Tom mentioned, I work at Youngstown State in the athletic department. If our basketball team has any problems this fall, I know who I'm turning to help us shoot free throws. 9th out of 10th in the Horizon League's not getting it done again this year. The Harts may be getting a call. Plus, induction into the Warren Sports Hall of Fame is a given if you can quote Don Andres in your induction ceremony speech. Anytime you can quote DA, it's automatic induction into the Warren Sports Hall of Fame. That's good. Not often you can quote DA and get away with it in public. There's usually a few bleeps along the way. But that's good. That was clean. That was fair.